He never planned to follow her. But something about her silence felt unusual. Asterisk one night. The billionaire stepped out of his mansion and walked into the shadows, trailing the maid he thought he knew. But what he witnessed in those dark streets, asterisk the hidden struggles, the secret responsibilities, the life she fought to protect, shattered everything he believed about her. And in that moment, he realized this wasn't just a maid. This was a mystery he was never meant to uncover. Asterisk and a truth that would change his life forever. Asterisk, the night had settled over the sprawling city like a velvet curtain, sprinkled with glittering lights. From the 48th floor of the Carlyle Towers, billionaire Damien Carlyle stood at his glass balcony, sipping a glass of sparkling water. The world looked tiny from up here. People, problems, purpose, all reduced to dots. Yet inside Damien, something felt hollow, an ache he could never quite explain. Asterisk, his penthouse was silent, too silent. Marble floors, polished staircases, designer furniture, everything was perfect. Everything was expensive, and everything was completely lifeless. On the far side of the mansion, down a private elevator and through 2 corridors, sat a much smaller, humbler space, the living quarters for the household staff. Asterisk there. Maya Thompson quietly finished folding a stack of neatly pressed shirts. Her back was slightly bent from the long day, but her movements were gentle, careful, as though she found peace in the smallest acts. Her face carried the calmness of someone who had long accepted struggle as a part of life. She looked out the small square window of her room and smiled faintly at the moon. Asterisk, while Damien looked down at a world he no longer understood, Maya looked up at a sky she prayed would bring better days. Asterisk, 2 people, in the same building yet living in different worlds, breathing the same air yet carrying opposite burdens, one weighed down by abundance, the other by survival. Asterisk Damien closed his eyes for a moment, unaware that the emptiness tugging inside him would soon lead him toward a life he had never imagined, a life connected to the same woman who, at that very moment, whispered a quiet prayer over her folded laundry. Asterisk, God, give me strength for tomorrow. The winds shifted gently, as though they already knew destiny was changing direction. The next evening, Damien found himself restless again. His mind had been unusually active, questions swirling, curiosity creeping in places it never had before. For reasons he couldn't explain, his attention kept drifting toward Maya, not because she worked for him, not because she served food silently, or kept the mansion spotless, but because she carried a quiet strength he couldn't ignore. Asterisk, driven by a strange impulse, Damien left the mansion wearing a hoodie and cap, blending into the night. He followed Maya from a distance, not out of suspicion, but because he genuinely wanted to understand her world. Asterisk, Maya walked through narrow streets lined with flickering bulbs and children playing barefoot. She carried 2 small food boxes in her arms. Damien watched as she approached a small alley where 2 stray children sat by a broken wall. Their faces lit up the moment they saw her. Asterisk, Maya Didi. They shouted. Asterisk, she smiled warmly and handed them food. Eat slowly. And no fighting today, okay? Asterisk, Damien's breath caught. This wasn't charity. This was love. Asterisk, afterward, she entered her humble home, a single rented room with peeling paint, a small fan, thin mattress, and a shelf filled not with decorations but medicines, ration bags, and school books. Her younger brother Ravi, around 10, ran up to hug her. Asterisk, I studied everything today. See? He said proudly, showing worn-out notebooks. Asterisk, Maya ruffled his hair. That's my good boy. Asterisk, Damien observed from outside, hidden in shadows. He saw her preparing dinner, helping Ravi with homework, and checking her grandmother's medicines. Despite her exhaustion, She carried a peace he had never known. Asterisk that night, Damien walked back home slower than usual. For the first time in years, he felt something other than emptiness. Asterisk, he felt admiration. He felt curiosity. And dangerously, he felt connection. The following week, Damien couldn't shake off what he had witnessed. So he continued watching Maya's life unfold, each evening revealing something new, something painful, something inspiring. Asterisk, he learned that Maya's mother had passed away 2 years ago, leaving her responsible for both her younger brother and her elderly grandmother. He learned she worked double shifts, sometimes skipping meals so Ravi could eat properly. He learned she carried debt, not from laziness, but from hospital bills and school fees. Asterisk every night, Damien saw her saving a few rupees in a tin box labeled Ravi's future. Asterisk every night, she added coins. Every night, she smiled as if she were placing diamonds inside. Asterisk, her perseverance tugged at Damien's heart more than years of riches ever had. Asterisk one evening, he saw Maya encouraging Ravi as they sat on the small floor carpet, working on math problems. Asterisk, if you study well, Ravi, I promise you'll never live the life I'm living, she said softly. Asterisk, but Maya diddy. Ravi replied innocently, your life is not bad. You make it beautiful. Asterisk Maya hugged him tightly, her eyes glistening. Asterisk Damien felt something twist inside him. Guilt, respect, admiration all tangled together. Asterisk her world was fragile, yet she held it together with strength he could never buy. Asterisk later that night, as she washed her clothes by hand in a plastic tub, Maya suddenly paused, holding her head, exhausted. But after a moment, she resumed washing, because she had no choice. Asterisk watching this, Damien realized that while his wealth had built walls around him, Maya's struggles had built character within her. Asterisk, and though they lived under the same roof, she was the one who truly knew life. Asterisk one stormy evening, Damien followed Maya again, this time in heavy rain. Water rushed down the streets, thunder cracked sharply, and Maya held Ravi's small hand as they hurried toward his tuition center. Asterisk when they reached the gate, the tuition teacher blocked their entry. Asterisk, fee is pending. Until paid, the boy cannot attend, he said coldly. Asterisk Maya's soaked hair stuck to her face as she pleaded, please, sir, I'll pay soon. He needs this class. Asterisk, no excuses. Rules are rules, the teacher replied, turning away. Asterisk Ravi's eyes filled with tears. Maya held him close, her voice breaking. Sir, at least today he has an exam. The teacher didn't budge. Damien, watching from behind, clenched his fists. He stepped forward, his voice firm but calm. Asterisk, how much is the fee? Asterisk, the teacher turned, shocked to see Damien Carlyle, a name so influential that even his presence demanded respect. Asterisk, you, sir. It's not much. Then accept it, Damien said, handing the amount instantly, and let the boy study. Asterisk Maya gasped, stunned. Sir, why are you here? And why did you? Asterisk Damien looked at her gently. A child shouldn't miss education because of money. Asterisk, the teacher immediately welcomed Ravi inside. Maya stared at Damien, confused, grateful, and overwhelmed. Asterisk, you didn't need to do that, she whispered. I wanted to, he replied softly. You work so hard. Let me help, even a little. Asterisk, for the first time, their eyes met without distance. The rain softened around them, as if the storm itself paused to witness this unexpected moment. Asterisk Maya lowered her gaze shyly. Damien felt warmth in his chest, something new, something dangerous. Asterisk that night, destiny took its first visible step. Asterisk, Damien began finding small ways to connect with Maya. He'd casually appear in the kitchen when she was preparing tea, offering to help something she found impossible to picture. He began asking about her grandmother's health, Ravi's school, her worries, her dreams. Asterisk at first, Maya kept her distance. She respected him as her employer and feared blurring boundaries. But Damien's gentle presence made it difficult to keep her guard high. Asterisk one afternoon, she struggled to carry heavy grocery bags into the staff area. Damien happened to walk by and immediately helped. Asterisk, Maya, why don't you ask someone? He said, concerned. Asterisk, sir, everyone has their responsibilities. I don't like troubling anyone. You're not troubling me, he replied softly. Slowly, conversations grew longer. He asked about things no one else ever cared to know. Asterisk, what do you enjoy doing? Asterisk, what makes you happy? Asterisk, if you could live any life, what would you choose? Asterisk, her answers surprised him. She didn't want riches. She only wanted stability, a good education for Ravi, medicines for her grandmother, and freedom from debt. Her simplicity humbled him. One evening, Maya needed to take her grandmother to a clinic, but the staff vehicle wasn't available. Damien offered his car and insisted she take the driver. She refused at first, but eventually agreed. Asterisk, when she returned, she found a warm meal waiting for her in the staff kitchen, left by Damien himself. She stared at the food, shocked and moved. Asterisk that night, Maya lay awake, confused. Asterisk, why was Damien, a billionaire, helping someone like her? Asterisk, meanwhile, Damien sat in his silent penthouse, thinking only of Maya. Her strength, her kindness, her dignity, they filled a void he never realized existed. A bond was forming, quietly, naturally, and dangerously. The turning point came unexpectedly. Asterisk, one humid afternoon, as Maya worked in the kitchen, her breathing became shallow. She tried to reach for a glass of water, but her vision blurred. Before she could call for help, her body swayed and collapsed. A sharp metallic clang echoed through the mansion. Damien, in the nearby hall, rushed instantly. Asterisk, Maya, he shouted, panic gripping him as he knelt beside her unconscious body. Asterisk, without hesitation, he lifted her in his arms and carried her to his private medical clinic upstairs, his heart racing faster than it ever had. Asterisk, the doctor arrived quickly and began treatment, informing Damien it was exhaustion, low blood sugar, and severe dehydration. Asterisk, but while Maya lay sleeping, something slipped from her pocket, a thin stack of old debt papers, overdue notices, and a small notebook filled with calculations, medicines, rent, school fees, electricity bills. Asterisk, Damien picked up the papers slowly, each line piercing him deeper. Asterisk, she had been suffering quietly, drowning in responsibilities, never asking anyone for help. Asterisk, he sat by her side for hours, watching her breathe, realizing how fragile her life was, and how deeply he already cared for her. Asterisk, when Maya finally opened her eyes, her vision cleared enough to see Damien sitting right beside her, his face tense with worry. Asterisk, sir, why are you here? She whispered, tears forming. You fainted, he replied gently. You push yourself too hard. Maya. She saw the debt papers in his hand, and instantly tears spilled down her cheeks. I'm sorry, she cried softly. I didn't want you to know. Damien took her hand firmly. You never have to hide your struggles from me again. Asterisk, Maya sobbed, overwhelmed by his kindness. Asterisk, and Damien, for the first time in his life, felt fear of losing her. Maya recovered in 2 days, and Damien constantly checked on her. But internally, she felt conflicted. She worked for him, yet he cared for her more than anyone ever had. The line between employer and protector was blurring dangerously. One evening, she gathered her courage and went to Damien's study. He sat by the window, reading, but stood up the moment he saw her. Maya, come in. How are you feeling? I'm fine, sir, she said softly, nervously twisting her fingers. But I need to ask you something. Damien stepped closer. Ask me anything. Her voice trembled. Why are you helping me? Why are you doing all this? I'm just your maid. He inhaled deeply, closing his eyes. You're not just anything, Maya. She froze. Damien continued, his tone raw. I watched you struggle quietly. I saw how you raise your brother, how you care for everyone, even when you have nothing. You're stronger than anyone I've ever met. Maya's eyes filled with tears, but she stayed silent. Damien took a hesitant step forward. And yes, I followed you. I shouldn't have. But I didn't do it to invade your privacy. I did it because I wanted to understand you. Because something about you... He swallowed, choosing his words carefully. Something about you pulls me toward being a better person. Maya's lips parted in disbelief. You don't deserve this life of struggle, Damien said softly. And I want to be a part of your world if you'll allow it. Her heart raced, emotion flooding through her. Yet she whispered, Sir, I'm scared. Damien replied gently. Then let me carry some of your fear. In that moment, walls built over years began to crack. Replaced by truth, vulnerability, and something dangerously close to love. The next evening, Damien invited Maya to the rooftop balcony, the same place where his lonely nights once passed silently. But tonight, it felt different. The wind was soft, the city lights shimmering like stars spread across the earth. Maya stood nervously at the edge, clutching her shawl, unsure of what awaited her. Damien approached with slow, calm steps. I want to talk about your future, he said gently. My future? She repeated, confused. He nodded. You work harder than anyone I've ever seen. You deserve opportunity, not exhaustion. Maya lowered her eyes. But sir, I don't know anything except housework. That's not true, Damien replied. You're disciplined, compassionate, organized, responsible. These qualities are rare. She looked up, surprised. Then Damien exhaled deeply, gathering courage. I want to offer you something, he said. Not marriage, not yet, because I want you to have freedom first. I want you to stand strong, not depend on anyone. Maya listened silently, her heart pounding. I will help you clear all your debts. Damien continued. I'll fund Ravi's education fully. And I want to give you a new job, an administrative role in my company. Training, salary, growth. Everything? Maya's eyes widened, tears instantly gathering. Sir, why? She whispered. Because I believe in you, Damien said softly. And because your presence changed my life. The breeze grew warmer, carrying the weight of his sincerity. Slowly, Maya nodded, tears rolling down her cheeks. I accept, she whispered. Damien smiled for the first time in years. A real smile. Gentle, hopeful. They stood together at the balcony edge. The city glowing below them. Two lives once separated by wealth, now united by respect, kindness, and the beginning of a new journey. And that night, the world that once felt small to Damien suddenly felt meaningful. Because Maya was in it.